go.
All right. So, where did you see that news about Hunter Biden's?
Guilty verdict. What I
Yes.
see, when I first saw the Hunter Biden guilty verdict, I was reading Political Wire when it said Hunter Biden guilty on 3 counts of lying to the federal government when it came to guns, when he lied about in his form about having a gun while being on drugs and addiction. And what led to his conviction was Hunter Biden's own words, and his own words, and also too, when he bought the gun, he was meeting with his cocaine dealer. That's what led him to being guilty.
So that's what it said in Political Wire about he was talking
Yeah,
to somebody.
yeah.
So he didn't know at the time about the information on the forms that they talked about.
The forms that they talk about when you get a gun, you cannot have an addiction having a gun and lying about it to the federal government. He also got some tax charges coming too in California as well.
Okay. And so Hunter Biden's, how do you view this as uh, his verdict versus the predecessors? You know.
When I viewed it as Hunter Biden's verdict, I view it as the rule of law has stand. And the reason why I say this is because Joe Biden, the president, could have pardoned his son. He could have interfered to make his son legal battles go away. But instead, he said, I let the process play out and I accept the verdict. And Hunter Biden is the last living son of the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
And so Joe Biden's decision was probably based on the fact that he's lost. He's had great losses.
Yeah, Joe Biden has had many great losses. He lost his wife back in 1976 when he won that senator seat against Braggs in Delaware, where he had to swear, and he almost never took the job as a United States senator. He had a swearing in his wife's bedside.
And so basically, when you see the rule of law playing out, and somebody is saying that, I won't interfere.
I won't interfere, even though that he's my last living son.
And
That just really shows you that there was no favoritism in this case. And he has not interfered with the Justice Department's on indictments on other issues, whether it was his own son or members of his political party. He did not interfere for Representative Henry Cuellar of Texas for corruption. He did not interfere in the indictment of Senator Menendez of New Jersey. And they're in the same party as Joe Biden.
all right. And so when we look at this decision, we can also look at it in another form. The form that could be that because he's had these losses, he doesn't want to lose his last son. And regardless of if his son has to be indicted, this will give his son.
They will this save his life. I think this will save Hunter Biden's life, to be honest, because addicts do not admit there is a problem. We got a lot of Hunter Bidens in our own family. Okay?
We've had a lot of Hunter Bidens
In our family. My dad that died was an addict and a Hunter Biden.
Okay.
And he gave up on life. He was a Vietnam veteran. He even said, I'm never going to stop smoking, and he never stopped drinking. He had 6 heart attacks and 3 strokes, and he never stopped what he was doing.
And so how do you feel with this decision that Joe Biden has made, in the midst of trying to save his son?
I think what he did it to save his son's life. That he doesn't want to lose another son. That's what it really comes down to. If it means he has to pay the consequences and go into jail, then that's what's going to have to take to save his life.
All right. So, in the end, when you respect death, the respect of death gives you the point where you have respect for life.
Yes, it does.
When you have no respect for death, you will take another life, or you will end a lot of people's lives.
That's right.
So, as we move through this session about Hunter Biden, we do wish him well. We wish his father well. Here's a man that once again has showed the greatest empathy and compassion for our nation. You do not want somebody residing.
You don't want somebody in the office that don't show compassion or empathy.
As they say, let the predecessor be the predecessor. He is who he is because he cannot be anybody else.
He can't ever be anybody else. He don't have the capability of being anybody else, the predecessor.
He can only give to his life and nobody
else's.
So, you want to spin it out? What's your final words?
My words on the Hunter Biden situation. And we're going to also compare it and contrast to the predecessor when he covered up for Jared Kushner. He covered up for Roger Stone. When the predecessor interfered with the Justice Department. And pardon the people before they could even begin, accountability can even begin. When accountability really began. And here's the thing, and this is another difference between the liberals and the conservatives. Conservatives want to change the rules. When they get accountable, they want to change the rules. Whereas liberals, they accept the accountability. They accept the accountability. And if we have a Hunter Biden in the Democratic primary, Hunter Biden would have lost in the Democratic primary because we do not accept that type of behavior. There's another behavior. There's Uncle Luke's brother that's running for the Senate in Florida. You know Uncle Luke, one of the Two Live Crew. He's going to lose in the Democratic primary because his brother had a domestic violence violation. Okay? And we're not going to elect guys like that. We don't elect guys like that at all. As a matter of fact, we kicked him out of the primary. Look at guys like Anthony Weiner. When Anthony Weiner was kicked out of Congress for child pornography. And guess who was the one that pushed for Anthony Weiner's resignation? Nancy Pelosi. Dave Wu, sexual harassment in Oregon. Another guy, we kicked him out. Nancy Pelosi kicked him out. Republicans defends this type of behavior.
What about Matt Gaetz?
And Matt Gaetz' behavior. And the one that defended Hunter Biden was Matt Gaetz. Here's what Matt Gaetz even said. He said that Hunter Biden's conviction was stupid. And Republicans want to have more guns to criminals. Okay? Democrats don't want to do that.
We lost too many kids'
lives. We lost too many lives. And I will not defend I will not defend scumbags. Just because I lean to the left, and yes, I am a liberal Democrat to the left, and I'm not on the Democratic plantation. I do not like scumbags. I do not like scumbag. If Hunter Biden was running in the Democratic primary, I would vote against him because he's an addict that needs help. If Gavin Newsom was running for president, I would be viciously against Gavin Newsom of California. And here's why I would go against Gavin Newsom of California. Because before Gavin Newsom became governor, he slept with the campaign supporters and Mayor wife. His best friend's wife. That's just dirty character right there. So I don't care if you're on my side. If you are a scumbag, no way in hell I'm gonna vote for you at all. I'm gonna vote against you, and if he somehow makes it to my primary, I am going to write another name if Gavin Newsom was, or any scumbag was president, or Senator Menendez of New Jersey. I have smoke for him as well, because he was accepting gold bars, and he was an agent, a federal agent for Turkey, without being a lobbyist. I have a smoke for Senator Menendez. And then, do you know what we did? We kicked him out of the Democratic primary. And guess what? He's running as an independent, and he lost to a better candidate, Andy Cam, okay? And I have some smoke for Christian Gillibrand in New York. Why do I have smoke for Christian Gillibrand of New York? Because she fueled that Me Too movement. that Me Too movement. And the one that said that I don't need a man type of movement, and what she did to Al Franken without even process. And that was wrong right there. And Al Franken was one of the best effective senators in Minnesota.
Now, going back to
And so so I have smoke for them as well, because women like Christian Gillibrand is the reason why that the men are traveling outside the U.S. in the Passport King movement because of women like Christian Gillibrand. So I have smoke for her too.
so going back to
And going back to Joe Biden.
what Joe was able to reach across the
And
aisle
Joe was able to reach across the other side of the aisle.
against McCain.
Again, he was friends with John McCain for many, many years and had very deep respect. Joe Biden has respect for death. Okay? The predecessor does not have respect for death. He has respect for himself. That's all he is about himself.
So your last and final words?
My last and final words is I just hope with that guilty verdict of Hunter Biden, this ends the nonsense, conspiracy nonsense saying the Democrats are responsible for weaponizing the Justice Department. No. There were actually more Democrats that were more indicted in the Justice Department than Republicans, okay? Look at Henry Cuellar, Representative Henry Cuellar of Texas, Senator Menendez of New Jersey. That's just two of Democrats that have been convicted by the Justice Department. So there is no weaponization of the Justice Department. I don't stand by corruption at all. I don't care if you're on my side or any side at all.
So on that note,
On that note, I am out and I do not stand by scumbags.